So they form an alliance. We are going to stand together. We are going to take down. They have to answer to us now. Honestly, this was the biggest nothing burger in the entire world, okay? What is going on, everybody? It is Jake with Master of Football, back at it again. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here. All right, everybody, if you've never been here before, this is Jake with Master of Football, okay? All things pro football, all things college football, all things video game football, anything football related, we discuss on that show. Always come here for your first stop for all news related to football. Again, I do videos on everything, okay? And we got ourselves some more college football today, so let's get into that. Before we get into that, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. Please share with your friends. Please comment. Anything like that drives engagement. I really appreciate it. But without all of that, let's get into the video. Earlier this week, there was an alliance that was decided. So ultimately, everybody who knows anything about college football remembers that Texas and Oklahoma leaving the Big 12 to the SEC, 16 teams in that conference now. There are 8 Big 12 conference teams that are remaining now. The ACC, the Big 10, and the Pac-12 are sitting back like, man, what do we do? Let's form an alliance. Boom, here, Big10.org. ACC, Big 10, and Pac-12 announced historic alliance. 41 world-class institutions across 3 Autonomy 5 conferences to collaborate on the future evolution of college athletics and an interconference scheduling alliance. Greensboro, North Carolina, most likely ACC. Rosemont, Illinois, most likely Big 10. And San Francisco for the Pac-12. They come forward and they announce this alliance. The 3 conferences remain competitors in every sense, but are committed to collaborating and providing on thought leadership and various opportunities and challenges facing college athletics, including student-athlete mental and physical health, safety, wellness, and support, strong academic experience and support, diversity, equity, and inclusion, social justice, gender equity, future structure of the NCAA, federal legislative efforts, and postseason championships and future formats. So again, they have a couple things there. They have, oh yeah, we're here for gender equality, we're here for this, we're here for that. Also, we're talking about the playoff. That's the big thing that they want to discuss there, because what had happened was for the last 6 months, it had been discovered that Texas and Oklahoma were talking to the SEC about joining. During this time period, the SEC and other smaller conferences, and I believe the Mountain West as well, were talking about what are we going to do to expand the playoff. So this whole time, the SEC was like, yeah, we should expand the playoff. We should expand the playoff. I mean, it's not like we're going to add more teams or anything like that. Oh, we're going to add more teams. So now the ACC, Big 10, and Pac-12 are like, what the hell's going on here? We're just doing whatever the hell the SEC wants. So they form an alliance. We are going to stand together. We are going to take down. They have to answer to us now. Honestly, this was the biggest nothing burger in the entire world, okay? They say they're going to do some scheduling. They say they're going to do this. They say they're going to do that. I want to go into a little bit of history about their definition of scheduling really quickly, just to put this into perspective. 10 years ago, well, almost 10 years ago in December, it's almost 10 years ago, the Big 10 and Pac-12 announced long-term scheduling agreement. So this is actually from the New York Times. It says right here a couple different things. They've got the excerpt here from the New York Times. I'm going to make sure I put this in the link so everybody can go and see that. But it basically says that the 12 interconference games by the 2017 season and sooner if possible. Bam, 12 interconference games in the season. Dang! Each Big 10 school will play a team for the Pac-12 each season. The Big 10 also announced that they will stay at 8 conference games rather than 9. Earlier this year, the Big 10 stated their desire to move to a 9-game conference schedule. Well, here we are in 2019, the last full season that we had. 2019 looks like Ohio State, Penn State, 7 plus 2 equals 9, 9 plus 0 equals 9. So that nothing happened there. And again, everybody who knows me, man, knows I got my handy dandy notebook, okay? So currently in the 2021 season, this is a full season. This isn't COVID shortened or anything like that. In the 2021 season, they're aiming to have 12 games by 2017. It is now 2021, and they have Oregon State at Purdue week 1. They have Oregon at Ohio State week 2. That's a good game. We got Washington at Michigan week 2. It's a good game. And then we have Minnesota at Colorado week 3. So they aimed for 12. They got 4, and both teams are going back to 9-game conference schedules. So that whole scheduling thing that they were talking about didn't really mean anything. I used that as a preset to make sure everybody understands that this whole thing that happened earlier yesterday, I'm filming this video in the future. Earlier yesterday, when they had this announcement between the Big Ten, the Pac-12, and the ACC, this was nothing more than a voting alliance. They want to make sure, hey, SEC, no, you need to run things by us. Don't be talking to ESPN about what you want to do with the playoff or anything like that. You need to make sure you run it by us too, because we have a say in this fight. So that's what's going on right now. In addition to that, our dear friend, this is an article by Heather Dinch. I'm going to make sure all of these articles are put in the description so you guys have them. But the Pac-12 commissioner to decide expansion interests by the end of the week. So again, down here, we'll announce a decision on whether or not we're going to be looking at expansion before the end of the week. Kaliakov says. So Kaliakov is a guy who came from, Las Vegas. He comes out to there. He's a really, forward-thinking kind of guy. So the ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12 all came forward, and they're like, yeah, we're all going to be in line with each other. We're not going to poach each other's schools. So you're assuming that if the Pac-12 was going to be expanding, it would be of the 8 remaining schools in the Big 12, maybe a school close by like BYU, something to that nature, somewhere around there. So this was reported the other day. Fox Sports analyst and former Pitt coach Dave Wannstedt on 670 The Score in Chicago this morning said he heard the following Big 12 news. And again, if you actually listen to what he said, he actually kind of says, I believe this is going to happen. So what he thinks is Oklahoma State and Kansas State to the Pac-12. West Virginia to the ACC. West Virginia fans have been clamoring for that. There's a guy by the name of Golden Blue Dude. I'm actually probably going to do a response video to one of his videos. He's a pretty cool guy out there. Talks about a lot of West Virginia stuff. Kansas and Iowa State to the Big Ten. Boom. There was no inclusion of Texas Tech, Baylor, or TCU. So again, who really kind of knows there? But that was the most recent report that we have right now. So that's what we're looking at, okay? The Pac-12, Big Ten, ACC, we're joining forces in a kind of a loose alliance, although we've done this before and it doesn't really net the kind of results that we want to. Basically what it means is we're going to vote together. Also, the Pac-12 is going to look at expansion. So they're currently looking at expansion. They're going to decide if they want to expand by the end of the week. More than likely, I don't know what that means, but that doesn't say who they're going to pick. It just says whether or not they're going to expand or not. I suspect what would happen in that instance is hypothetically speaking, the Pac-12 comes forward and they say, you know what, we're going to expand. At that point, they've got a couple years before we can kind of decide who they want to add. You're going to see a whole bunch of, universities are going to blow out their football budgets. I know UCF is already doing it. I don't expect UCF to join the Pac-12, but I suspect that UCF they're preparing for some sort of movement. They actually had announced a big expansion of their football facility pretty recently. So I know that they're getting ready for this, but you'll see that if that were to happen, and if the Pac-12 were to expand, oh boy, man, the lipstick and the high heels would come out for all of these universities saying, pick me, pick me, pick me. You just watch. I don't expect that to be the realistic outcome for right now. What I actually expect to happen is I have each of the Big 12's remaining 8 teams. I have their ideal situation, okay? They're absolutely, positively, 100% ideal situation. Unfortunately, there's an asterisk around all of this kind of stuff because every single team here just wants to go towards the biggest payout. Now, reasonably close geography-wise would make sense, but honestly, the Big Ten pays the most money at this point. The SEC pays 2, and then from there, nobody else is close. So, the ideal Big 12 situations for the remaining schools. So Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State, Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State join the Big 10. Okay, they're already kind of there. They're kind of close. Iowa and Iowa State, they're going to lock down that market. That would be ideal for Iran. This is ideal from the university's perspective. This isn't ideal from the conference's perspective. So they would love it if that happened. West Virginia would love to go to the ACC. That'd be absolutely perfect. They'd have a whole bunch of rivalries. It's already right there. It's quick travel. It'd be absolutely ideal for them. Whether or not it's ideal for the ACC, we don't know. And then for Oklahoma State, Baylor, Texas Tech, and TCU, their ideal situation that they want would be to join the SEC. I mean, if they join the SEC, if there's a TV on in Texas on Saturday and it's watching football, they're watching SEC football. There's just nothing else. I mean, you can maybe argue Houston or SMU or something like that. More than likely, no. That's what they would want. Again, you have to remember here, the SEC just added 2 teams. They're plenty good, okay? They've got plenty of teams to go from there. The Big Ten, it looks like they're kind of analyzing whether or not they want to cut up their tens of millions of dollar checks that they hand out to their schools right now. I don't know. The ACC, we'll see. The Pac-12, we will actually see, and they will actually have an answer for us by the end of the week. Okay, the reason why this is so important to me, and the reason why I've been talking about this recently is because of that school right there. I do like them. So for me, for the Boise State fan, the best outcome would be none of the teams want to expand. The Pac-12, the ACC, or the Big Ten, none of them want to expand. At that point, the Big 12 remaining 8 schools have to make a decision. At that point, they would probably elevate some schools up. That's what I want. Now, remember, this all comes down to money, and we're going to find that out in the coming weeks. The most important domino to fall next is what the Pac-12 does. If the Pac-12 says no expansion, then we're going to have to see some teams elevated up to that Big 12. If the Pac-12 says we want expansion, you wait, man. Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, they're going to do all that they can to present themselves in the best light. They're going to talk about viewership. They're going to talk about this. They're going to talk about that. They're going to make sure, hey, we can bring this to the conference. We can bring that to the conference. That's what's going to happen. So everybody just be ready, okay? Because we could see either group of 5 teams puckering up to the Big 12 if the Pac-12 says no, or we could see the Big 12 teams puckering up to the Pac-12 if the Pac-12 says yes. That is the next domino to fall, and we are all here to wait along and see what happens. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, subscribe to the video, comment, anything like that. I very much appreciate it. I'll have a video coming out on Friday with some NFL stuff. But after all, you all have yourself a good week, and I will see you then.